Let's talk about Raaka-Tu. Deja vu, right? I can totally hear you now. But Noriko, you already did a video on Raaka-Tu. Yeah, you're right. 3 years ago. It was literally the first game I did a Let's Play of, and to be honest, it is an embarrassment. I had no idea what I was doing, what I was saying, how to properly record, or worse, no idea how to edit. It's raw, unfiltered, and outright pathetic. Sometimes you just got to go back and redo something in the past and make it right. So let's serve that old video, the divorce papers, because there's a new girl in town, and for some reason, her name is also Raaka-Tu. Seriously, what are the chances? I am Noriko, and this is Raaka-Tu. Back in biblical times, you know, the 70s, Tandy created the Model 1 and its software, and the software was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of games, and the spirit of Tandy moved upon the face of games, and Tandy said, "Let there be haunted house." And there was a game, and Tandy saw haunted house, that it was good, and Tandy extrapolated from the code, and Tandy called the first one Pyramid 2000, and the second one Tandy called Raaka-Tu. True story. Raaka-Tu was created by Robert Arnstein. You may not know his name, but he's kind of like Gozer the Gozerian. He was really big in the whole Tandy cult. Some might even say he carried the whole official games division on his back in the very beginning. This is where he differs from Gozer. He was not in it for the destruction thing, he was a creator. Well, not at first. In the beginning, he was more of a copier. Did he write programs for the TRS80? Sure, he did. Were they original? Not really. There's not really a lot about him out there, but what I can find tells me he got his start with a chess game for the Sol 20 microcomputer in 1977. And there are very few games that are more basic than chess. Off the top of my head, I can think of Tic-Tac-Toe, Connect 4, maybe Janken-Po. Everyone knows those, and the logic in them is pretty simple. Chess, not as simple, but still. Many of the earliest home electronic game devices were computer chess. Let me show you. You know, one of the reasons this took so long is I had to relearn how to use the Sol 20 again. 8080 Chess is on cassette, and even though I know the name of the file, let's assume I did not. In order to figure it out, you place the cassette into the recorder, press play, and type CAT, catalog, in all caps. It's cap sensitive, and you press enter. As you can see, what it's doing is scanning the cassette for the program header. What it tells us is that the program header is chess, and it starts at memory location 000. Next, I need to reboot the machine. Hold on just a moment. Now that I know the header information that's necessary in order to load the program, I have a number of different options. And the easiest one is the one I'm going to use, which is a matter of XE chess. This means to load the program with the header chess from the cassette and execute it from the default memory location, which, as we saw earlier, the memory location it's looking for is 0, which is the default. It's going to load the program now, and please forgive me, I actually recorded this part earlier and am doing the voice now because this is really loud and I didn't want to break your ears. So hold on a minute while we let it finish loading. This game was marketed by Processor Technology Corporation in the 70s. It was titled 8080 Chess, and it has no actual graphics to speak of. Instead of graphics, it uses an ASCII representation of a chessboard, which gets redrawn constantly. Controls are really simple. After telling the computer if you're playing black or white, we will play black. You enter a board square coordinates with which to move your pieces around, in the order of letter number. First the starting location, followed by the location you wish to move to. As you can see here, the computer has moved a pawn from delta 7 to delta 5. Now I'm going to match that with delta 2 to delta 4. So delta 2, delta 4. Now, I'm not going to play this whole game here as this is not what we're here for. Honestly, This game's claim to fame was that it came in as 9th place in the 1977 ACM North American Chess Computer Championship. In 1979, some sources say 1980, but I have the manual here, and it definitely says copyright 1979 Tandy Corporation. He released 2 more games, this time through Tandy Radio Shack for the TRS80 Model 1. They were the fixed shooter genre Flying Saucers, a game that is a copy of the Small Target System Software 1978 game Air Raid, which itself is a copy of Steve Dampier's 1977 Sol 20 game Target, originally marketed by Processor Technology Corporation in their Game Pack 1. Then there was Invasion Force, a real-time clone of Steve Dampier's, yes, him again, 1976, also for the Sol 20, released under the title of Trek 80, though, to be fair, he stole a lot of it from Mike Mayfield's 1971 game for the Sigma 7 mainframe. You played this on a mainframe. To be fair, other than chess, Star Trek is probably the most copied computer game in history. Arnstein did make some changes. He changed a lot of the names as insulation from trademark license fees. So the USS Enterprise became the USS Hephaestus. Photon torpedoes became Triton missiles. Klingons were now Jovians. Stardates became Startime. You're smart. You get the drill. And Pyramid 2000, an interactive fiction text adventure for the TRS-80 Model 1, re-released for the TRS-80 Color Computer in 1981. I did a Let's Play of this game 2 years ago, and my opinion of it has not changed much at all. It is a low-budget bargain ripoff of the original Crowther and Woods Colossal Cave adventure. Almost the entire game is a thinly veiled Egyptian-themed reskin of Colossal with large portions of the game removed entirely due to target platform memory locations. Not even a congratulations message when you completed the game. Just displayed your score, and the game ended. You had to reset or reboot to free up your computer's memory for further use. Now, why Egyptian, you may ask? Did you know that in 1976 the Treasures of King Tutankhamun exhibit came to the United States, starting a wave of Tut mania that gripped the nation, some say the entire Western world, until long after the exhibit ended in 1979. Now you know the reason for Steve Martin's 1978 Platinum SNL single, King Tut, and how it got its inspiration. Art imitates life, as they say. It was Egyptian-themed, so it basically printed money. Next was Project Nebula, a shooter for the TRS-80 Color Computer, which is pretty much the Atari VCS game Star Raiders. You know what? Let's skip that one. I wrote all kinds of stuff about it, but, well, I know it sounds like I'm dumping on Arnstein really badly here. Noriko, why are you even making this Let's Play if you obviously do not like him? Let me assure you, it's nothing like that, because things take a drastic turn in 1981 when Tandy Radio Shack releases his next 3 games. Games which I personally consider to be the holy trinity of the TRS-80 text adventures. I mean, yeah, there are a few other games I skipped here and there for brevity, but these 3, Raaka-Tu, Xenos, and Bedlam, these 3 are the real reason I got into interactive fiction. The rest of you all had choose-your-own-adventure books, which I recently discovered, by the way. But I had the likes of Scott Adams, Tom Rosenbaum, and of course, these 3 amazing games by Robert Arnstein. For now, let's focus on what made Raaka-Tu special. In the 2 years between Pyramid 2000 and Raaka-Tu, Arnstein's game engine had evolved considerably. In Pyramid 2000, the player was limited to 2-word syntax, verb, noun. This action with that item, the obvious exceptions being the directions. One could say, move north, north, or just in. It understood them all. If the engine did not understand what the user was saying, it would barf, just bleh. In Raaka-Tu, the player had a much more robust engine to work with. Most commands were still simple verb-noun input, climb vines, get coin, examine room, and so on. But the parser was much more robust and able to handle a verb-noun preposition-noun types input structure, assuming the words were part of the recognized limited vocabulary. In short, commands like put coin in slot or light candle with lamp became possible. And if the engine expected extra words, it would throw an error to the player. It would ask the player for clarification as well as giving a hint as to what was missing. Now, for those of you who are into programming, game objects are now actual objects. They're not executed automagically. There's a hierarchy where each parent room decides when to invoke a child object. As an example, the serpent one encounters in the game is not just a puzzle to be defeated, much like opening a door, as was the Snake in Pyramid 2000, the Troll in Zork, or the Dragon in Colossal Cave Adventure. Instead, it was an object that will pursue a player room to room and will have to be dealt with accordingly. For that matter, the player is an object in the game as well, which is really genius if you think about it, as it allows all other objects to be able to interact with the player. Because of this little advancement, Raaka-Tu possesses my favorite puzzle of all in interactive fiction, not from a complexity point, but from a logical and programming perspective. Let me explain. When the player starts, they're in a mini-maze. The on-screen text informs them that they are in a dense, dark, damp jungle. There's no hints whatsoever as to who they are, why they are there, and what they're expected to do. Hopefully, the player is like me and they take the time to read the manual which came with the game, as all those questions are answered. What makes the first puzzle the mini-maze is any direction the player goes leads to more dense, dark, damp jungle. This often leads to the player going each cardinal direction at least once before they return to their start point. If that direction is north, east, south, the player can travel infinitely and never see anything but dense, dark, damp jungle. However, if at any point they travel west twice in a row, they'll come upon the outside of the temple. This temple has 4 walls with a few items here and there, but my favorite puzzle of all of these interactive fiction games is the guards walking the perimeter. Throughout the entire game, these guards are constantly walking around the perimeter of the temple. They're armed with crossbows. They have the accuracy of a clone trooper, not a stormtrooper. If they see you, they will riddle you with the bolts and you will die and have to start over. And they are always walking. This means they're always at one face of the temple. North, then east, then south, then west, then north again. Rinse and repeat. And you as the player will have to get past them not once, but at least twice. See, they're there to keep you out, but you will get in. Oh yes, make no mistake about it. You'll get inside the temple and you will steal the treasures. It's actually not that hard. But to get out, you'll eventually have to leave. And when you do, those guards are always walking. Every time you make a move in a game, they walk a facing. If you walk, attack, wait, pick something up, you name it, they move a face. The lucky ones, those with a Model 1 or a Model 3, they could save the game here and there. Those of you playing on a Coco, there was no save. You had to be creative or rage quit after you died 12,000 times trying to exit the temple. Now me, I took a 6-sided dice and an AT&T miniature figurine and moved it around the die every single time I made an action. This helped me keep track of my exit time, though it's honestly confusing how one can exit north of the inside of the temple and come out at the south wall. Magic, I guess? Anyway, you've listened long enough. Let's get started. Hey, Editing Noriko here. Again, you'd think I'd not be interrupting here anymore, but you know what I forgot? I forgot to remind you to like and subscribe. They kind of look like these things on your screen right now. Click it, ring it, boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew, guilt trip, appeal to your heartstrings, blah, blah, blah. Just click them, please. As I said before, Raaka-Tu was released on cassette for 3 separate machines, the TRS80 Model 1, the TRS80 Model 3, and the TRS80 Color Computer. To be fair, the Model 1 and the Model 3 are the same, but they load differently. On all of these, you have to rewind your cassette, load the recorder magazine properly, and press play. To load on the Model 1, you hold down the break key and hit reset to boot in cassette mode. This is the same for the Model 3. When you're asked for the memory size on the Model 1, you just hit enter. And when you're told ready, type the word system. At the prompt, you type Raaka, R-A-A-K-A, and press enter. And then you go get a cup of coffee. When you return, type / and enter. To load on the Model 3, it's the same, except at the beginning, when it asks for cassette, type L and then enter. Continue on just hitting enter with memory size, system at the ready prompt, Raaka at the other prompt, and / when it's done. The Coco is a bit different. You just boot the machine with the queued cassette and press play. Then type cload M, C-L-O-A-D M, as in cload machine language, and press enter. When it finishes loading, type exec, E-X-E-C, as in execute, at the prompt. Now, for our purposes, we're going to be using a TRS80 Model 1 with Radio Shack Level 2 Basic. Ready? Here we go. As I explained before, we start off in a mini maze. It tells us that we are in a dense, dark, dank jungle. And we can go any direction of the cardinal directions. We can go north, we can go south, we can go west, we can go east. If we go north, we can go north as far as we want. south as far as we want, and east as far as we want, and we'll never get anywhere. But if we go west, we only need to go west twice. And this is true even if we have already gone north 3 times, east 7 times, and south once. It doesn't matter, just go west twice. As you will see, you're in a dark, dense, damp jungle. You hear the distant cries of wild animals. Go west again. Through the jungle, you see the east wall of a great temple. A group of guards marches around the corner to your right. You hear the distant cries of wild animals. These are the guards I told you about earlier. Every turn, they move one facing. So I can sit here and type wait multiple times. They'll disappear and reappear. In fact, it has no influence on the game or my final score, so I'm just going to do that in order to illustrate it to you. Wait. They disappear around the corner to my left. Type wait again. I pause. Wait again. I hear the distant cries of wild animals. And then right here, wait one more time. And a group of guards marches around the corner to my right. Now I hear the cries of distant wild animals. Now, if we have another look at this convenient map I made of the outside of the temple, you will see we started here. We then moved west twice. Here, then here. And we are now looking at the east wall. So the guards are here. We need to go to the east wall, then to the south wall, then the west entrance, where we can pick up a coin we desperately need for a puzzle inside, and then head to the north wall so we can climb some vines and get inside. Notice how each step can be done right behind the guards. So that's what we're going to do. So we wait for the guards to march around the other corner out a few to our left, and then we need to go west. And this puts us to the east wall. Then we go south. And this puts us at the south wall. And then we go west again. And this puts us standing before the west entrance of the temple. Great bronze gates engraved with images of serpents stand silently before us. There's a coin on the ground. You hear the distant cries of wild animals. If you were following along with me using a Coco instead of the Model 1 or the Model 3, you will notice that the coin is on the ground, is listed after everything else. Now we need to get that coin. If we do not get that coin, we will not be able to complete the game. Coin is taken, and we hear the distant cries of wild animals. From here, we're going to head north. And this puts us at the north wall, and there's a large network of vines clinging to the wall. Now, before we attempt to climb these vines, we need to remember that the guards are right behind us. So what we need to do right now is get out of the way. To do that, we go north. Through a gap in the jungle, you can see the north wall of a magnificent temple. A group of guards marches around the corner to your right. So we wait for them, and they disappear around the corner to our left. And then we go south, which puts us at the north wall. And remember the vines? There's the vines. So we want to try and climb the vines. This will get us inside. But as you see, the vine gives way and we fall to the ground. This is a random number generator. There is no set number of times, but if we do not get out of the way and head north again, the guards are going to come around and fill us full of holes. So once again, we wait for them to disappear, and then we go south again, and then again we try to climb the vines. And this is just a matter of rinse and repeat until we are able to climb the vines and get inside. I did not count, so I don't know how many times that took us. You climb to the roof. As you step on the roof, it collapses. You're in a small room with granite walls and floor. There is a small opening to the east and a large hole in the ceiling. There's a small bottle sitting on the floor. Now, for those of you who are following along with me using the Coco instead of the Model 1 or the Model 3, you're probably going to notice it looks a little different. You climb onto the roof. As you step on the roof, it collapses. You're in a small room with granite walls and floor. There's a small opening to the east and a large hole in the ceiling. There's no mention of a bottle, and that's because the bottle is a red herring. It doesn't do anything. It isn't for anything. There's no score for it. There's nothing. It's just a bottle, and since it's not necessary, it was removed in the Coco port in order to save on memory. Now from here, we need to go to the east. You're in a large rectangular room. On the floor of the east side of the room is an intricate oriental rug stretching between the north and south walls. In the east wall is a huge carved wooden door. To the south, a small hole leads to a dark passageway. Now, the rug is not a treasure, it is a trap. So we don't head for the door. Instead, let's have a look under the rug. Remember I talked about how the parser for this game is a lot more robust? If we look under the rug, we discover a deep, dark pit which extends from the north to the south wall. The pit is too broad to jump. So we leave the rug alone. From here, we're going to go south. We're in a dark passage which slopes up and to the south. We go south again. We're at the top of a passage which slopes down into the north. There is a corridor to the east and another to the west. There is food here. Let's get the food, but do not eat the food. Now we're going to go west. You're in a small room with a single east exit, and there is a large sword laying nearby. We want the sword. And then we need to get back out of here, so we're going to go east, because we've already been here, and we're going to go east again, which puts us in a T-shaped room with exits east, south, and west. I do not like the T-shaped rooms in this game. They can get to be confusing, and they're part of a later trap. Now we head south. You're in a room with gray stone walls. Passages lead north and east. Let's have a search of this room. And you discover a precious gem hidden in a crevasse. Now, you remember that bottle that was unnecessary that was removed in the Coco version? In order to make room for memory, at least my assumption is, they wanted to make space in order to have a randomness, because in the Coco version of this game, you attempt to search this exact same room and you find nothing special about the room. Instead, you have to travel around and search every single room until you find the precious gem hidden in a crevasse. And that's important because this precious gem is part of your score. You need it in order to complete the game for full points. So let's get the precious gem. And then we want to go north and east. We're in a triangular room with openings in the east and west. There's a statue in the south corner with a bow and arrow. The statue is facing the east door. There's a tiny slot cut in the north wall. There is a message carved under the slot. So let's read the message. The message says, "Safe passage for a price." Remember the coin? This is why we need the coin. If we do not put the coin in the slot, the statue will not turn to face the west door, and we will not be able to go east, because when we go east, it will put an arrow in our back. So let's go east. You're at the south end of a great central hallway. Exits exist in the east and west walls. So we go north. We're at the north end of a great central hallway. Exits exist in the east and west walls. There is a door on the north wall. The door is closed. We're going to open the door. The door is open, and we go north to get inside. You're in a vault with a large door to the south. A bejeweled lever is on one wall. There is a plaque on the wall above the lever. The door closes behind you. Let's read the plaque. Untold riches lie within reach, here, to any knowing living creature. Be wary, though, no matter what thy creed, that thou harness and limit thy powerful greed, pull the lever to gain thy wealth, be prepared to. Do not pull the lever, but the lever is bejeweled, so we can get the lever. Bejeweled lever taken, and then we open the door, and we go south. We're back in the north end of the great central hallway. So we go east. We're in a very small room with a burning lamp. Of course, we want to get the lamp. And then we want to go west. We're at the north end of the great central hallway. Exits exist in the east and west walls. There is a door on the north wall. The door is closed. We're going to go west again. We're at the entrance to a long dark tunnel which leads west. There is a passage east. A candle is in the room. There are cryptic runes above the candle. Let's read the runes. Into the tunnel enters the seeker. Bravely and wisely he goes, for he will recognize the reaper as the light before him glows. Not very cryptic, is it? I mean, it seems like it's just plain English, but we do need the candle. So we're going to get the candle. Do not chew it. It's not bubble gum. Do not sniff it. Do not breathe it. Do not inhale it. Do not do anything with it other than carry it. But we are going to use it in just a little bit here. So let's get going to the east, and then we're going to go south from here, which puts us at the south end of the Great Central Hallway. And then we're going to go east again. And this is a T-shaped room with exits east, south, and west. And we're going to go east from here. And we're in a petite chamber, and there's a larger room to the north and a passage to the west. Let's go north. You're in a large room which smells of decaying flesh. There are exits to the north and south. There is a hideous stone gargoyle perched on a ledge above the north passage. Do not let the fact it is made of stone lull you into a false sense of security. It is not just a statue. In a moment, we're going to bring it to life. It's going to come down and attack us, and we're going to get out of here. But first, we're going to lay a trap for it. We want to drop the candle, and then we want to light the candle with the lamp. Remember in the beginning I mentioned light candle with a lamp was a potential command we could use. The candle is now burning. A sweet scent permeates the room. The light from the candle seems to be growing dimmer. Now we want to go north, and the gargoyle comes to life and jumps down to block your way. The light from the candle seems to be growing dimmer. We're going to go south. You're in a petite chamber. There's a larger room to the north and a passage to the west. And now we need to just wait this out. Now, time passes. We could look around. We could hit inventory if we want, but I'm just going to wait for a while. I'm not keeping track of how many turns I'm using this time, so we might end up dying at the very end. We'll never know. Now, from here, we want to go north. You in a large room which smells of decaying flesh. There are exits north and south. A candle is burning dimly. There is the dead carcass of an ugly gargoyle nearby. The light from the candle seems to be growing dimmer. We want to extinguish the candle and then get the candle again. Now let's go north where it wouldn't allow us. And this is a tall room carved of stone with a single exit to the south. There is a golden chopstick here. So let's get the chopstick. They usually come in pairs, especially where I'm from, but this time it doesn't seem that way. Now let's go south and south again. And then we're going to take the passage to the west. This is that T-shaped room with exits east, south, and west. And then we're going to go south again. In a room with gray stone walls, passages lead north and east. And then we're going to go east. This is a round room with high walls. The only opening is to the west. A ring of the finest gold is here. This ring is a trap. So let's drop the candle and get ring. Gold ring taken. Let's read the ring. The inscription reads Ring of Motion. So what we want to do now is we want to drop. Well, before we do that, let's have a look. Notice, round room with high walls. The only opening is to the west. There is no candle that we dropped just up there. So we want to drop the ring, get the ring, and let's look again. Notice there's a candle in the room. So we were teleported to a room and teleported back. Let's get the candle. You may not believe this, but we're actually in the home stretch. So we're going to go west. We're in the room with gray stone walls, passages leading north and east. We're going to go north to the T-shaped room. We're going to go west again, which is the great central hallway. And then we're going to go north again. This puts us at the north end of the great central hallway. Exits existing, blah, 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 blah. There's the door that's closed that we went through in order to get the lever. So we want to go west, and we're at the entrance to the long, dark tunnel. This is where we got the candle. Want to go west again, and we're in a dark tunnel. We want to go west again, and we're at the entrance to a long, dark tunnel which leads east. There is a passage to the west. This is a good place to save if you're on a Model 1, just because. We're going to go west again. You're in a large room with a single east exit. Before you stands an altar stained with the blood of countless sacrifices. A golden idol stands in the center of the room. A large serpent lies coiled on the floor. The serpent strikes, poison courses through your veins. it is possible to die here. So let's go ahead and kill serpent with sword. Your large sword sinks into the hilt of the serpent's scaly body. The serpent strikes. You dodge his lunge. So kill serpent with sword. And we get the same thing. It sinks to the hilt in his scaly body, and we dodge his lunge. It gathers itself for an attack. Throws a shower of sparks as it glances off the wall. And it sinks to the hilt. He is dead. Now, do you remember the room layout? Because it's a good idea to remember that there is an altar there. So we want to get the idol that is on the altar. Golden idol taken. And then we're going to push the altar. Ugh. With great difficulty, you manage to move the altar and you discover a secret passage. To get into the secret passage, you go under the altar. We are in a secret passage which leads east. The altar moves back to seal the hole above you. Now, let's go east because the passage leads east. You're at the end of a passage. There's a hole in the ceiling. We are almost completely home free. But first, let's have a look at our inventory. As you can see here, we have food, gold ring, large sword, golden idol, bejeweled lever, candle, burning lamp, golden chopstick, and precious gem. These are our treasures. Not all of them are treasures, but all of the treasures that are important are in this list. Now, at this point, we're pretty much almost finished with the game. We have to get out of here alive, and we have to get back to our starting location carrying the treasures that we are carrying and type score. Now, there is a 1 in 4 chance that when we leave this hole, there are going to be guards that will walk around the corner and shoot us with crossbow bolts. Now, I'm pretty sure that's not going to happen to us this time because, well, 25% chance. It's a pretty good gamble. Normally, I would have been keeping track the whole time of the whole game where they are, but since I'm busy talking to you, we're just going to go up the hole and take our chances. As you climb out of the hole, it seems to magically seal up behind you. You're at the south wall. You hear the distant cries of wild animals. I really don't understand how I can come out of the south end when I was leaving the north end. Does not make sense to me, but hey, there's magic in this game. But we need to get out of here, and we need to get out of here quickly. To do that, we're going to go south. We're going to go south again. We're going to go south again. This puts us in the deep, deep jungle. We're going to go east, 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 and south. Let's check our score. Out of a possible 50, your score is 50. Did you notice the pattern there? I went south, 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 east, 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 south. That put us back where we started. That puts us here at the final point. Out of a possible 50, our score is 50, which means that's the highest score. We've completed the game with the highest score. Unfortunately, the game doesn't give us any fanfare, no congratulations, nothing like that. It's just out of a possible 50, your score is 50. Again, I assume it's memory limitations and not bad programming. Raaka-Tu was groundbreaking in many regards, but overall it's mostly forgotten. It does not really help it being a product that only saw the light of day on a barely remembered microcomputer. Even if that microcomputer once ruled the roost, it eventually fell to the might of the Commodore. I could lecture you for hours on end as to why and how, but all that's important is to know Tandy grew complacent and messed up big time, and it cost them. It's not completely forgotten. Tandy machines have their own cult following. Some people are machine specific. I only use a Model 1, or the Coco was the only true TRS computer. And some are open-minded and spread their love over many different models. It has a bit part on page 105 of Ernest Cline's Ready Player One, where Wade Watts describes it along with Bedlam, Pyramid 2000, and Madness and the Minotaur on cassette in a shoebox beside the tape drive on Halliday's TRS80 Coco. Described exactly like someone was copying information directly out of the Encyclopedia Britannica. And no, I am not doing madness. You're just going to have to do that one yourself. If you're interested in playing Raaka-Tu yourself, there's many ways to do it. You do not even have to have an actual TRS-80 anymore. Emulation on these machines is really well developed. Though it is not the most advanced out there, I would suggest giving the TRS-80 GP Model 1, 2, 3, etc. emulator by George Phillips a try. Not only is it free and easy to use, it has superb support by George himself. Really, I cannot recommend this one enough. Link in the description below. It also exists on Android phones, packed with Bedlam and Pyramid 2000. Now, I don't have an Android phone myself, and personally, I do not use Android at all. I've always been more drawn to true Unix and BSD systems over Linux, so iPhones are more my speed. Still, link in the description below. Now, overall, Raaka-Tu was a short-lived game. Released in 1981, registered as an official trademark on Tuesday, 17 January 1984, number 1264355, canceled under Section 8, Thursday, 17 May 1990. If you're an owner of a TRS-80 Model 1, Model 3, or color computer, it's pretty safe to say you owned it and you played it. And even though the trademark is 32 years gone, this game will live in the hearts and minds of those who loved it then and those who still love it today. Thank you for taking time to join me for my dive into Raaka-Tu on Exertech. I know you have many choices of how to spend your time, and I'm grateful you have chosen to spend it with me today.